Back on the stand for cross-examination, you're looking at a sketch of a faceless Jane, called the pivotal witness in this case, with the federal charges against R. Kelly tied to a relationship with her that she says started when she was 12 or 13, turning sexual by 14, including threesomes with underage girls and adult women. Sex acts recorded by Kelly, part of evidence in this trial and testimony today. 37 now. R. Kelly's defense questioned Jane repeatedly about her relationship with Kelly and documented contact between them all the way up to January of 2019. Kelly's attorney confirming Jane lived with Kelly and his wife in her early 20s, the three of them sexually involved. The financial help she received from Kelly after ending things and moving out at 26. Intimate times together after the breakup. And finally, going over friendly text message exchanges between Jane and Kelly from 2018 and 2019, including texts Jane sent before and after the docuseries Surviving R. Kelly was released in January 2019. Asking directly, after all these years and a continued relationship, why she's coming forward and testifying now. Jane said at one point, "I no longer wanted to carry his lies." Remember, both Jane and her parents lied under oath, denying the sex abuse back in the 2008 trial where Kelly was acquitted. Jane and her parents were granted immunity in this trial, but her father has since passed away. When pushed by Kelly's attorneys on the possibility of restitution paid to her should Kelly be convicted, Jane said restitution didn't weigh into her decision to testify and has not decided on whether to seek restitution.
Can I with you? What?
ACP, did you see this?
Look, if it ain't official Dana J, Levi for Kelly, Primadonnanews, I don't even want to see it. Just take the phone. Look. You got some weed? Dang. Gotta get some. Alright, hurry up. These and them here, everybody here, we waiting on you.
Handcuffed, like a lot of you I'm handcuffed by my destiny. It's too late. They should have did this 30 years ago.
When her mother found out, and that her mother, he actually stayed at their home in Detroit, and her mother actually was sexually attracted to him as well. And he said when Aaliyah would go to sleep, that he would, this is what he said. He said that he would go in the living room and him and her would do sexual acts on the couch while Aaliyah was sleeping.
Justice, yeah, a city of love, a city of peace, every one of us.
I want to send a message to the enablers of Mr. Kelly, to the agents and the managers and the attorneys and the others who stood idly by and looked the other way and turned a blind eye while teenage girls were sexually assaulted for over 2 decades. I will not rest until each of you is brought to justice.
With all the time that has passed, people wouldn't accept Rashona Landfair denying it was her on the tape. And then you had all these people who continuously wanted to force it to be her, putting her name out and violating her rights, as I pointed out, from day one, starting with Jim Derogatis and the Surviving R. Kelly series. Now, clearly the issue I had was in listening to all these stories, it was clear how they were shaping this narrative to put all the blame and all these accusations on Robert Kelly. Now, regardless of what you feel about the accusations, it would only make you believe that one or two things. Either A, we're going to selectively ignore the criminal allegations against all these people on these stands, or B, they think we dumb as fuck. Now, as I laid out in my content, I never had to try to intimidate, bully, or harass anybody to show you all that I believe these sources are janky as hell. And clearly, If they're going to believe this person who has changed their testimony now, what does that say about all these people who were allowed to tell her story for her and are now being implicated in her alleged abuse? What does that say when people want to conveniently look over the motivating factors as to why she would be changing her story? When if you go online, you can see how every time you see her name, you see such negativity. It was all a laughing matter at one point, but this is supposed to be a victim. All these people telling her story, releasing all this information, think about how she could have felt as a minor, as they say, in school, having to deal with these conflicts these adults brought to her. Now, when I show y'all how these people on YouTube did the same things to me and tried to put all this information on these platforms, which I have brought to you one by one, it amazes me how lost some still are. Now, common sense should tell you that a person like me can't tell you what actually happened and what didn't, but I can tell you why I'm suspicious of these stories at hand when all I see is janky ass shit, refurbished stories, and all these newfound victims skirting away from the crimes they have implicated themselves in. Make this shit make sense. What type of victims need immunity? I don't understand that. But then people will say it's because she lied to officials in the past. But we gonna skip around all these other people who obviously broke the law, who are not being prosecuted. So make that shit make sense.
Less than a year, 10 months later, around Thanksgiving, I heard that there was this videotape on the streets showing Kelly having sexual relations with this young woman of 14 or 15 years. We had heard that there had been a relationship, and we had tried to do some reporting on this woman. We had talked to some of her relatives. We had talked to her family. No one wanted to talk to us. And then one day I'm at home. I worked at home because you can't sit around and play loud music in the Sun-Times offices any more than we can here at BEZ, which is why we're in these editing booth cubicles doing this, right? I got a call. It said, go to your mailbox, click. Hung up, and there in the mailbox was a manila envelope with nothing on it and a videotape inside that showed Kelly having sexual relations with an underage woman. Certainly appeared to be that.
Now, I'm no genius, but the biggest red flag was coming to the biggest contributor to all these R. Kelly stories, and how it's just mighty strange the same individual has devoted all this time writing these stories about this individual, violating individuals' rights in privacy, while everybody is so surprised at how I'm able to find the information that has been written about over and over. And it's not strange that all these people that got a bone to pick with R. Kelly run to Jim Derogatis, same person who wouldn't testify in the 08 trial because of his criminal activities behind the scenes. Yet strangely, the black community was so quick to gravitate toward how everybody knew this man was doing this and that, didn't go to the police, but want to keep running to this damn journalist. Then when the pressure comes on him, what he do? He start throwing his sources under the bus. This fool get to talking about the Nation of Islam is behind the tape leak and all this other goofy ass shit, when that ain't what we heard on this witness stand, now is it?
Was whether or not these women were over age. And once it was determined that they were of age when they met him, we faced a host of issues. And so, like Tim said, 3 years ago when they came in my office, after he called me, I first started to strategize, how can I help? Because legally there weren't too many options. But what we had to do was destroy the narrative that's been surrounding this individual and many cases like this, that these are women that no one cares for, that these are women that no one will fight for. And so we took a outside the box approach, and we started to destroy the narrative. We had to convince men and women across the country to believe what was going on.
Ain't this what I've been showing you? that all these people had to come out here and convince the world to believe what was going on. Never mind that if these crimes were being committed, there's policies, there's procedures, there's ways to handle this instead of trying to taint a possible jury pool, which is what they did. Now they in their feelings because the person they pushed to get on the stand ain't really sticking to the script they had in plan. But you won't see the media give the same energy to Mama Bear or none of these people who had all them crocodile tears talking about he hog-tied me and all that other bullshit. Because like I said from day one, if what you're saying about him is true, something ain't clean in the water here.
I want to put a few things in context. I'm letting those who really know, support, and love me know that this is a family feud. Yesterday was a day I didn't think I'd ever see. Nevertheless, at this point, I'm pretty much prepared for anything. After I learned my niece was cooperating with the investigators, I prayed and I thanked God. Also, I did some thinking, as I often do, throughout this whole process. Asked myself, if I were them, what could be said that legitimately make this make sense and spare them from crazy? My answer is nothing. Knowing that there's no right answer to explain their ongoing actions and years of support for Robert once learning about that tape, the clear plan is to try to take me down because I've been so vocal. I knew that there was some anger and resentment because of my stance, which is why I'm like, okay, they're going to handle it their way, and I'm going to handle it my way. And I was thinking, one day, my niece will be older and will have a real heart-to-heart conversation. And there's no expiration on this concept, but I'm very clear that day ain't close. I know us speaking privately and candidly to her looks like betrayal of her mother. But now being an adult, I was hoping she was closer to being more independent thinking at this point. Yesterday, my niece absolutely doing the will of her mom. This is another form of the terrible decision making of her mom. And in my opinion, the unfortunate continuing allegiance to Robert. As the youngest of the group, and all I've ever known was family and community. So I operated from that space from the beginning of my career by bringing them in to show them that it was not just about me, but about us getting this record deal that I was about to get. We were a gospel group just years prior, so me thinking about them for them was partly programmed in me, all I knew. Again, because Robert was giving the opportunity to have his own imprint record label, I introduced my sister, my brother-in-law, and my niece to Robert at CRC Studios in '97 in hopes of landing my niece a career as an artist in this industry. Not a concert, as she testified. I didn't stop there. I asked Robert to check out my brother-in-law, who played the guitar, and other family members in hopes he'd assist them with their musical careers as well. I'm saying this again to say not all that you heard yesterday from my niece is true. I don't want to hinder this legal process, I don't, but to testify that I had my niece sit on Robert's lap and rub his head and have her ask him to be her godfather is an absolute fucking lie. You all cannot imagine the hurt that comes from pain caused by the people that you live and are willing to die for. Another lie. Robert and I were never in a romantic relationship. Never. To show you sabotage is a highly priority within them. If Robert and I were in a romantic relationship, you and your mom was cool allowing you to start a relationship with him? Again, no right answers for their actions. This journey of mine, I started with the greatest of intentions, and all I've gotten from it is hell. This is not how we were raised, and it has fucked up family names, relationships, and the death, allegedly. Enough is enough. I've endured being not believed before, so my niece's false statements don't bother me as much as her mindset and willingness to tell the lies. I'm certain it's from her mom, certain. But she's now old enough to start bearing some level of responsibility of her actions. I love her more than life itself, so this is all I'm going to say regarding her and her mother, unless I have to.
It's just funny to me, because all these people be working overtime trying to backtrack on all these stories they brought to the public forefront. And the slow people can't realize that my content is about reasonable doubt, not to sit here and go back and forth with slow people who can't comprehend that all these tactics they use are going to backfire on them. Now, either you're going to believe them then, or you're going to believe what plays out in your face now and the motivating factors these individuals have. I find it very strange an individual claims they were in fear of their life and the government gives them Section 8, gives them government assistance and all kind of other shit, and this person over here getting PPP loans all over the place just like many other accusers. So for those that try to deflect and wonder what does mentioning those characteristics and the things that are motivating them to cooperate have to do with anything, well, pretty much the same thing I said a long time ago, and how I believe these individuals were using all these tactics to get around the double jeopardy that I see with this case, and how they were forcing this girl who wouldn't cooperate in 2008, according to them, to stick to the story they gave her. Meanwhile, a lot of individuals have decided to spend most of their time following people who have opposite beliefs as me, doing the most and causing such distractions on these YouTube streets. Don't change nothing that I've put on display that we see playing out, or the fact that I wouldn't let any of these janky motherfuckers come over here and play these games with me. Unlike some, I know how to read.
They want to lock him up like Bill. Oh, they finna lock his ass up like Bill. You know what I'm saying? He better start. He better start singing that song, "Prayer Change." Prayer Change. You better start singing it because he gonna need it. So what? But at the same time, I'm talking about the incident in hand. R. Kelly got issues. You know what I'm saying? And he talking about they want to lock him up like Bill. Oh, they finna lock his ass up like Bill. Women lied to him. Women lied to him. Women lied to him. Women lied to him. Our sons could be next. Our sons could be next.
I don't know what's up with Don. I'm gonna call Don, yo. I got Don personal number. I'm gonna call him. No, Triana, however you pronounce it. No, I didn't tag you. I tagged my decorators, but I did tell everybody I want to thank my entire team. There's too many names to name everybody, but I tag because they deserve that credit. You get credit when credit is due, and they deserve that credit.
We got the bus. Yeah, we got the bus. We got here back here. Hey, y'all can't be here. I hear something too. Azriel, is you up there, Azriel? Knock on the window.
In front of the window. Come on, Azriel. We see you, darling. You're
I do believe in my heart that 1999 video that was done with R. Kelly and that little girl, I do believe that that little girl was underage. I do know for a fact that that was R. Kelly in that video.
So, yes, I did have sex with Bubba as well. No, we did not have a threesome, but me and Bubba had another relationship outside of Rob.
Today in the child pornography trial of singer R. Kelly, witness after witness identify those on that now infamous sex tape as the alleged victim and R. Kelly. SEAL TV's Randy Bellasoma was in the courtroom today, joins us now from 26 in California with more. Randy?
Sean, today, for the first time, we heard testimony that identified those on the tape from someone other than a relative, a friend, or a parent of a friend of the alleged victim. We heard from a former employee of R. Kelly who said at first she did not want to believe that it was him. Lindsay Perryman worked for Robert Kelly on and off from 1999 to 2006, doing everything from cleaning floors to handling the defendant's personal business. She told the court that included driving the alleged victim in the now infamous sex tape to and from his Olympia Fields home. She also testified to often seeing the girl at Kelly's recording studio, sometimes carrying a pillow and an overnight bag. The image that I saw looks exactly like Mr. Kelly, Perryman said, then IDing the female on the tape, citing her facial features and her cheekbones. During cross-examination, defense attorney Mark Martin inquired about Perryman's purported master's degree from a recording conservatory in Arizona, a degree she said took only months to acquire. I didn't go to Oxford or Harvard, no, Perryman replied. Also taking the stand was Jada Burnett, a family friend of the alleged victim. She said the female on the tape was about 12 or 13 at the time and noted her distinctive cheeks and facial structure. However, that's as far as she could go. Here's an exchange during cross-examination by defense attorney Sam Adam Jr. At some point, you'd have had to have seen her naked. You were so close, right? I've never seen her naked. 22-year-old Raven Gangler testified as well, saying the girl on the tape was her friend from junior high. She said that was something that was absolute and said the alleged victim was very proud of her relationship with R. Kelly.
Generation tape that was filled with all sorts of video noise where you couldn't identify, in my opinion, anybody. That's my view of the tape.
Something